Have you ever interviewed for your dream role and been unsuccessful? Have you ever felt that your experience was the perfect match, but for some reason the interview didn't show that you were capable? If so, you're in the right place. As today, I'm going to share the five biggest mistakes that people make in the interview and the lessons that you can learn to make sure you land the job next time. Hi, I'm Jasmine McCrudden. As I mentioned before, I'm a cybersecurity recruiter from Decipher Bureau. I've spent years helping organizations build world-class cybersecurity teams and supported hundreds of cyber professionals land their dream jobs. A big thanks to Phil and the extended cyber leadership team for having me here tonight. A bit about us. Decipher Bureau, we're a specialist cyber recruitment firm. There's 12 of us here strategically positioned across Australia. And we recruit in cyber, tech risk, and emerging tech. We're trusted by government, enterprise, and critical infrastructure. We've got deep networks across offensive security, defensive, and GRC roles. Big advocate for diversity and inclusion and capability growth, and we're quite active in industry community events. A little bit about me. I've had 7 years in telco, 5 years of recruitment. I'm part of the Australian Information Security Association, where I help run cyber events monthly in Sydney. I'm very passionate about helping women uplift their careers in cyber and progressing within their careers. And you could say I've got a deep understanding of market trends and talent strategy, hence why we'll sort of jump into this topic. And just to give you a bit of perspective, we're engaged as an external recruitment agency when companies struggle to hire. We're not here to engage and fill the junior roles. We're more here to help fill the senior, hard to fill niche cyber roles. So whether that's your identity, AppSec, all the way up into head of CISO level. So we're the ones guiding the candidates through the interview process. We're the ones giving the feedback when people unfortunately don't do too well. But we're also here when we receive the feedback when people are super successful. So I sat down with my team this week. There's 12 of us, as mentioned. We shared insights on what we see as the top 5 biggest mistakes that people make in job interviews, especially at that senior leadership level. So as you can see, mistake number 1, this seems to be the biggest one, is lack of depth and being concise. So not being succinct with answers, sometimes over-explaining or going off into tangents. Why does this matter? The interviewers only have a limited amount of time. If they can't follow your point, they might miss your impact. For example, when you're dealing with a stakeholder, if you're not the one that can deliver the right message to the right person in the right way, it can make or break your impact. Influencing is everything. If you can't shape the message to land with the people who matter, you're not going to succeed in the role. And if you're not demonstrating that skill in the interview, you risk losing them before you even get the job. So how to fix this? I always suggest with every candidate we put through a process to use the STAR method. If you're not familiar with the STAR method, it stands for situation, task, action, and result. It just takes the interviewer on the journey of the conversation and doesn't lose them. I suggest practicing your biggest achievements and being able to explain them in under 2 minutes. And try and stay focused on answering the actual question rather than dancing around the response, which is what we see in the constructive feedback a lot. Mistake number 2, saying we instead of I. So that mistake is more hiding behind the team, saying stuff like we built this or we responded to that. Why does this matter? The managers want to know your capability, not the team's. So I suggest using I when describing a specific contribution. Share outcomes you personally delivered. For example, I led the incident response that reduced breach time by 60%. Or I took the business through ISO 27001 certification. Stuff like that. Mistake number 3, I would say, comes down to poor research. So we see a lot of people wing the interview, only skimming the website before the interview. So why does this matter? It shows lack of interest. For example, if you put yourself in the shoes of the interviewer, imagine if it's your business, and if the person didn't know about your products or services, it would make you think that that person doesn't know where they're interviewing. The best candidates we've seen demonstrate that strategic curiosity. So how do you fix this? I would go deeper. Read the news, recent press releases, maybe leadership blogs, or even annual reports for that company. I suggest tailoring your answers, saying something like, I saw your focus on OT security. That's an area I've built solutions for in my last 2 roles. I suggest thinking like an analyst. Use an open source, intelligent mindset to understand the challenges that they face and how you can help solve them. Mistake number 4, not asking enough questions. We see a lot of people treat the interview as a one-way conversation. Why does that matter? It signals that you're not strategically thinking about the role. So I suggest preparing at least 3 to 4 thoughtful questions. For example, what are the biggest cyber challenges you're currently facing? Or how does security align with your company's wider strategy? Or what does success look like in the first 90 days? If they haven't already asked you that question. That question that they have at the end when they say, do you have any other questions, is your time to come in. If you don't, it sometimes doesn't look as good. Now, the 5th mistake, letting ego get in the way. We've seen people come across arrogant, maybe dismissive, or acting like the role looks beneath you because you want to show that you were made for that role, or that it's easy. The flip side, we see people failing to show genuine enthusiasm about the role. Now, why does this matter? Culture fit and personality are just as important as technical skills. Even the most qualified candidates can lose out on the offer if they don't seem collaborative or curious or passionate about the company's mission. So, how to fix this? I'd try and balance confidence with your expertise, but also remain open to learning. Ask thoughtful questions, show curiosity about the work, the team, and the business. End strong. Reinforce your excitement about the opportunity and why you want to be a part of their mission. Remember that your first impression and your last impression counts. Sometimes in the first 7 seconds of meeting someone in an interview, they can gauge a lot about who you are. Also, I just want to add in there, if you don't know the answer to the question, it's fine to be honest. Don't make up the answer because people can see that. People appreciate honesty and transparency, especially in this line of work. I recommend really knowing your worth when it comes to entering the market. I suggest doing your homework, really understand what's going on in the market, how much other roles, similar roles and competitors are being paid. You can ask recruiters like us. We've got a salary guide that we release yearly just to show you what the average benchmark is in this industry. Be realistic. Going in way over market value might hurt your credibility before the conversation even starts. And I always suggest having a range. Know the number that you're aiming for, but also be open and transparent about maybe what your minimum would be for the right opportunity and that you're negotiable. That confidence and flexibility shows that you understand your value and the realities of the market. I just want to say thank you again to Phil and the extended team. Phil's a good friend of mine in the industry, known him for a while, so I appreciate that he asked me on here tonight. Hopefully this information has helped some of you. And yeah, if you need to get in touch or have any questions about the industry, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn.